Hi guys, and welcome back to today's video. I hope you guys are all doing great. If you are new here, hi, my name is Dana. I am a wife to Josh and then a mama to my 3 little ones, and 2 of which are in homeschool right now. I have a kindergartner, a preschooler, and then a 10-month-old. A lot of my videos kind of center around just my day-to-day life with them, our day-to-day life as a family, homeschooling, lifestyle, and things like that. If that is something that you'd be interested in, I'd love to have you join our family, and you can do so by subscribing down below. As you can tell from the title, today I'm going to be sharing with you a little bit of our journey and a little bit of our story, as well as just some tips and tricks of how we've kind of gotten the kids used to being outdoors more. And then we'll go into a little bit of kind of what our favorite outdoor activities and toys are, just to kind of keep the kids outdoors longer and more engaged, and honestly just their favorite toys for being outdoors with. But yeah, I do hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you do, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and let's get into it. If you are not new to the channel, you know that we have chickens, and you also know that a while back we had a rooster. We had to actually just get rid of the rooster because my children were terrified of it, and in their defense, I was terrified of it too. I did not like the thing. That was a very mean bird. I'm just gonna say that, it was very mean. But yeah, so we had to get rid of it because the kids just got to the point where they just were not wanting to go outside. They were not interested in going outside. If they did go outside, it was for a few minutes, but they kept, you know, both eyes open in all directions to make sure the rooster wasn't gonna like randomly sneak up on them and things like that. And so we finally just had to get rid of the rooster, and since then it's been really fun to see the kids actually be free spirits again and actually just go outside for hours and hours on end. And it's funny that something as simple as like a rooster kept them back from actually feeling free to go outside. So we've been enjoying the past few months of just seeing them, really since they're 5 and coming up on 4 now, which is crazy. They've really just been practically living outside since summer started. It's been great seeing them just learn and explore being outdoors and things like that. But anyway, so when I first started doing some more research and reading about just the benefits of outdoor play in general, I was actually really surprised to see that throughout the board, a lot of experts were saying that 3 hours minimum is what they would recommend for outdoor time in nature, for kids to just kind of connect with nature and themselves and just be outside and do free play. I was like, well, that's not quite what we're doing. But so I was like, I read that more. And then I also continued reading, and I also read that only 8% of American children get that time in outdoors. And I was like, oh my goodness, only 8%. And I think that opened my mind a little bit because I, for one, knew I wasn't quite getting those 3 hours. And then we started the 1,000 Hours Outdoor Nature Challenge, and that has really helped us be consistent and intentional about it. And some of the tips that I've learned along the way to transition my kids from not wanting to be outside at all because of the rooster, and like I was saying, that they were afraid and they wanted to stay inside. So within that, like, you know, half a year of staying inside a lot because they're afraid of the birds, which is so funny to me, but during that half a year, they got used to not really being outside. They got used to playing inside. Even though it was still a lot of screen-free time, it was still indoor play, and they just were not getting the outdoor play that I felt like was necessary for them and their growth and development. So we, like I said, got rid of the rooster, and we started doing some more research and everything, and just the overall benefits of being outdoors. And not necessarily what I've read the benefits are, but what I've actually seen in my own children have just been amazing. They've been amazing. They've been much more free-spirited, like I said. They are happier. Their moods are becoming well-regulated. They know how to well-regulate their emotions a lot better when they are being outdoors, when they get that time in nature. And the more research that I've kind of done with it, the more I've also learned that being in nature, the outdoors, the sun, it also stimulates the serotonin, and that's like the happy hormone. And so I was like, I need that too. Like, I need to just get outside in nature. It reduces stress, it reduces anger and anxiety, and just all these big feelings when you are outdoors in nature. And so the more reading I did, the more I was like, yeah, this is not only important for my little ones, it's also important for me as a mama and a parent. And one of the tricks that I learned to slowly transition them into being outside for more than that hour a day was I actually had to go outside with them. And that was a journey in and of itself, because I had to say kind of like goodbye, or like, oh, okay, I'm not going to do that now, to other responsibilities, whether that be just household things and things like that, to make sure that they were outside and they were enjoying nature, and that be my top priority. And that was a really hard transition for my mentality as well, because not only does that help their happy hormones and they learn to self-regulate, But they're also learning incredible things from being outdoors playing. It's crazy how much they learn. They learn the social emotional skills, they're learning fine motor skills, gross motor skills, they're learning just everything. And then I was also continuing to read on this matter as well, and they also said that a lot of the times they would interview teachers, and the teachers said that they could very easily tell like which children spent the most time outdoors because they were the quickest learners, they were the ones that could actually grasp concept, they were the keen observers, and they were just like overall as a whole person, they were just quicker to learn in the classroom setting too. And I was like, well, that's actually really, really cool, because when my kids have actually started doing like a ton of outdoor time, when we do come into the table and sit down and do the sheet work, they are like, it's really funny because like it actually, maybe it's because they get all the wiggle worms out from being outdoors in nature, so it really did boost their everything about them. And so when we do come in and sit down, it's true, like I've actually seen it with my own eyes, how it impacts their actual ability to just sit down and concentrate, and that's been really cool to see as well. So even if the concentration is only for 20 to 25 minutes for reading lessons and things like that, it makes a huge difference when they've already had like this huge amount of outdoor time. It's been really, really neat so far. Another huge benefit for being outside is, as a homeschool mama, I'm sure you can probably relate to this, or you've done it too, but when you're scrolling through Pinterest and you see sensory activity after hands-on activity, and you're just like, I am a horrible mother because I don't do any of these activities. One of the benefits of being outdoors and in nature is they get every sensory experience imaginable by being outside. If they take their shoes off and they're running around with bare feet, they're feeling different textures on their feet. When they pick the grass or catch the frogs, like I'll show you here in a little bit like we did, when they catch that little slimy frog and feel its skin and its texture, and when they climb a tree or feel the bark on the tree, or they lay in the grass and try to make a quote-unquote mud angel instead of a snow angel. Oh, that's a fun to clean up, but but they love that. And like with all those different experiences and like the pebbles and the rocks that they pick up and they collect, they're feeling every texture, they are feeling everything, and their entire sensory board is completely full when they're outdoors. And it's not something that I even have to sit them down at the table and say, here's some kinetic sand, let's play with this, because it's a sensory activity. Even though we love kinetic sand, that's nothing against that. It's just when you can just like go outside for a few hours and get every sensory thing imaginable, you're hearing, you are smelling things, you're feeling things, it's just incredible. Plus when we eat lunch outside, they're also getting that full experience as well. And so it's also really, really cool for me to see them grow in that area as well. So when we do come inside and sit down as well, even if we are playing with Play-Doh or kinetic sand, they still love those things, but it's definitely a different thing when it's outdoors and when it's actually being done outdoors. They definitely love now being in nature a lot longer, even though it took us a while to transition to being outdoors, if that makes sense. A few of our favorite things and toys and just activities that we use to transition our children into getting more used to being outdoors longer were honestly just like the bikes and the trikes. My little guy, I'll show you a picture up here, really likes this balance bike. He doesn't quite know how to use the two-wheel pedal yet, but he can still go as fast as he wants and control it. And like I said, it's great for learning how to balance before actually stepping up to that bigger bike with the two wheels. So he loves his balance bike. Ellie loves her little trike. She just has a little pink Radio Flyer trike, but she loves that. And then we have a big, I believe we got it from Before Adventure. It's a big saucer swing. I think I've shown it in a couple of my videos, but I'll show you a picture here. They absolutely love that swing. They'll be swinging on that, and they will be anywhere from imagining they are a bird in the sky, they'll imagine they're a boat on the water, they will imagine they're an airplane, of course. There's just so many things that you can do with one simple swing. And what I've also learned too, as well as seeing like other friends and other family and acquaintances, you know, you go over to someone's house and they have a garage full of toys, and in that mom guilt moment you're like, oh, my kids have like literally a bike and a swing, like they don't have all the other toys. But one thing that I have observed and one thing that I have noticed is even with a garage full of toys, I've also kind of observed this with other like surrounding environments as well, especially when it comes to any toys, not just outdoor toys. But what I've noticed specifically with outdoor toys is 90% of the time that we've seen children get together and play, or for play dates and play groups, every single child wants the bikes, they want the tricycles, they want to swing on the swing. And all the other little outdoor toys and everything get overlooked. Like it's not, I've even seen like the big play sets in the playgrounds be in a lot of videos that things that parents regret buying, because in reality, like, they spend $5,000 on the play set, but the kids still just do the swings and the sandbox and things like that. One thing we will probably be adding to our backyard here in the next little bit is a big sandbox for the kids. So they'll have that to do, not even just more sensory, but we'll also connect like a little garden hose out there, and just the imagination that will come forth out of the sandbox with river building and lakes and tunnels, like all the fun things that come with a big sandbox. So I'm looking forward to doing that. But right now, just the big swing is a huge thing in our family. And then there are trikes and bikes and things like that. Those are honestly the only two actual toy items that our family has as far as like outdoor play. And then we also have, like I showed you in a previous video, I just set up like a little tiny mud kitchen area for the kids. So we went to the thrift store and found some old pots and pans and things like that, and they play with those all of the time. I say all the time, but really just every day for the past week. So, which is a win too. But yeah, so that's really the only toys that I've seen my kids actually gravitate towards. We do have a lot of like outdoor trucks and little things that they push around like that as well. But when it comes to choosing a little truck to push around and things like that, or their bikes, they always choose their bikes. Because again, they can pretend like they can be whatever they want. They can be a race car, they can be a dump truck, they can be like whatever they want, and they do use their imagination that way a lot. So that would be something I would definitely recommend, is getting either that big swing, or make sure they have something like a bike or something to ride on. And when we got the kiddos those bikes and then the swing, it helped them be outside longer. And then once they realized that they could be outside longer, then they started using them for other things than the things that they were. That's when they got to fly in here. That's when they started actually using them for like imagining, like I said, the airplanes and boats and things like that. Another thing that I wanted to remind you as well, and something that I honestly have to remind myself, especially when you are transitioning into spending more time outdoors and your kids come inside and say, "Mommy, I'm bored." And this is to encourage them to just go back outside for a little bit. And one thing that I had to do as well, as I always gave them a time limit, and I would say an hour. It's like, you need to go outside. If it was nice out, it wasn't too hot and things like that, I would say you need to go outside just for an hour to play. And if they came in, 20, 30 minutes later, I'd be like, well, you still have half an hour left, so go outside and play. Or you can start your chores and clean your room and things like that. And then 99% of the time, they're like, oh, go back outside. And what the amazing thing about a time limit setting thing is they know in their mind, okay, we have to be out here for an hour. It prepares them to actually be out there for an hour. But at the same time, it's funny because that creativity like blossom that goes off in their brain is normally, it reaches the point of boredom, and then for some magical moment right after they actually say I'm bored, for some reason 5 minutes later it's like boom, they can suddenly create something to do, and that's when imagination really blossoms. So if they do say I'm bored, encourage them just to go back outside. Like I said, encourage them to set that time limit and be like, okay, well, in 15 minutes you can come back inside and then we can do something inside. But most of the time, and I'm telling you from personal experience, that it is that little tiny bridge from I'm bored to that time limit. It's really like just past boredom is when creativity starts. It's just past boredom where their imagination starts kicking in. It's just past boredom. So encourage your kids. It's okay for them to be bored. That's when, like I said, they will start imagining and creating. And when I started doing that hour time limit, then they were just like, it really was like, it was like almost to the minute. It was like that 45-minute to an hour point after they said I'm bored, what can we do, that they really started blossoming. They really started being creative. And then all of a sudden they didn't want to come in, like, because they found something, they found real play, they found something to be creative with. And then they were outside for those 3-4 hours a day, just doing that and having fun, being together and being creative. But it does take a while to get past that hump of I'm bored, mama. Okay, so that's fine, go back outside, because sometimes it's good to be bored. And then they go back out and boom, that's when creativity starts in. But yeah, sorry about the fly buzzing around. It's annoying me too. A few more things that I wanted to share as far as tips for keeping your kids outside longer, and this is weather permitting, of course. If it is too hot or if it is too cold and maybe we don't have enough water play activities for them to keep cool with or things like that, they'll come in. But one thing that we try to do, my husband and I together in the summer, is we do try to keep the house between 76, 78 degrees. Because it is so warm outside, what we don't want is for the kids to be outside in the morning and then to come in the house and have it be drastically like bam, it is freezing cold in the house versus being outside. because they would probably never want to go outside because it's very comfortable and cool in the house. Now our house isn't hot, but it's also not cold. So when they do come in from being outside, it's like, oh yes, it's nice and relieving because it is cooler, but we don't want it to be so cold to the point where they have so much comfort to the point where they don't want to go outside. And that's something that's important to remind ourselves as well, because even if I were to hang outside with them even more than I already do, and I came in the house and it was just like instantly cold, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm not going back outside, I'm just gonna stay here and relax and things like that. But keeping it at that 76, 78 degrees, at least for us, works really well for our family. It keeps the kids comfortable, but at the same time, it also keeps them from settling in too much, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't keep them from wanting to go outside because there's not that huge temperature difference. If that makes sense, that just is what works for our family, and it's what keeps us comfortable from going in and out all the time. And yeah, I don't know, that seems to work really well for us anyway. Another thing that I wanted to encourage you mamas with, and I believe this is from a Charlotte Mason quote, correct me if I'm wrong, but she says to not send your children outside, but to take them outside. And so I have been trying to do that more. It's still a huge learning thing for me. Because I love being outdoors too, but I also love like having a clean house and all the laundry done and like all the other things too. And sometimes we live out in the country right now, and so sometimes when they are just like right outside my window and I see them, sometimes I'm just really tempted to just sit and relax and just like enjoy the quiet. I do that sometimes too. But I have also learned that they just absolutely light up when I'm out there with them. So whether it be I'm sitting on the blanket under the tree with the baby and things like that, yeah, they love it when I'm out there, and I want to not only tell them to go outside, but I would also like to take them and model to them that it is very calming and it is an incredible experience when you are outdoors in nature. It grounds you, it's very relaxing. Another thing that you'll probably see here on my channel over the next few weeks, I'm going to be doing a really big declutter, starting with probably the kiddos' rooms and then the playrooms specifically. Because I've also learned that if I do want to spend that extra time outdoors, then I have to cut back on my responsibilities indoors, and sometimes that might mean that, hey, you know what, I don't really want to be in a keeper of stuff, I don't want to keep inventory, I don't want to like do all of that stuff. And so a way that we've realized for our family to do outdoor time and free time better together as a family is to eliminate a lot of my cleaning, a lot of the pickups that I do. And so eliminating a lot of the toys and the clutter and things like that, things that are honestly time consuming, things that the kids don't even play with but I still have to pick up because maybe they're searching for one thing, so they dump everything out in order to find that one thing. Just eliminating a lot of the toys, a lot of the clutter that I know they don't play with will really help me in the end run to be able to spend more time out there. And it's all about simplicity, honestly, simplifying my life, simplifying what things I have to do in order to have the main priority be them spending time outdoors, them spending time out in nature, and in turn I spending that time with them as well. Those years would go by so quickly. I can't believe Madeline's gonna be 10 months, that's crazy, and Ellie's gonna be 4, that's crazy. Oh my goodness, it goes by so quickly, and I don't want to keep having to prioritize my life around like stuff, cleaning up stuff, picking up stuff. So I'm trying to eliminate all of that, keep it really minimal. I'm not going to use the word minimalistic or minimalism because that's not really what I'm striving for. I'm just kind of craving simplicity, and I talked about this in a previous video, I think last year, that we are kind of downsizing a little bit and kind of purging some stuff and things like that. But I think I am going to take it a little step farther and really just downsize, keep it to what I know the kids play with, and I'll take you along through that as well and show you kind of what toys I kept / what things I got rid of. With all of our kiddo stuff and things like that, and kind of include them in that process as well as we're talking through and kind of deciding what we want our life to look like. At the end, this is just what works for our family. I know not every family has the same goal, but in my goal to be able to freely spend time outdoors with my little ones and to give them that just incredible experience and the beautiful benefits of being outdoors and playing in nature, I do have to cut back on everything in the house. So yeah, that will be my little bit of a journey over the next month that I'll take you along with me as I kind of like downsize and sort through things and do all that stuff. But yeah, I do hope you guys enjoyed today's video and that was somewhat encouraging to you. One last thing that I want to leave you mamas is another quote. And that is this, and that is that sometimes what is best for your child may not always be what is most convenient for you as a mama. And that is something that I'm probably going to have to print out and put everywhere in my house. But yeah, I do hope you guys are encouraged and that you can get outdoors with your little ones this week and have a great just memory building experience with them, because it's, like I said, so worth it. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and as always, if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in our next video. Bye.